So, welcome everyone. I'm Alexander Mihalcea, and today we have of one of the industry leaders, Gilbert Aguiles, CEO of RG Media. Welcome, Gilbert. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm great. Thanks for asking. And I'm really excited to have you on the podcast today. And I'm sure you're going to be of the great value for the audience.
Well, I hope so. That's the plan, right?
Yeah, perfect. Now, before we dive in, could you give us a quick overview of what RG Media does?
Sure. So RG Media is what we like to call ourselves a boutique airport advertising concessionaire. Operate a little differently than some of the more traditional larger airport advertising concessionaires in the sense that we provide a more nimble, more personal touch to our clients. We currently serve over 22 airports, I believe we're at now, across Latin America, the Caribbean, and the United States. We also expanded our reach into VIP lounges, providing advertisers um, the opportunity to reach a higher level of traveler, if you will.
Yeah.
And we now have expanded our services into the cruise port industry, where we'll be building advertising programs for 35 cruise ports in the Caribbean, Europe, and the Mediterranean. So we're very excited about our growth, and we're very excited to be a part of the global advertising world.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. And what inspired you to create RG Media? Was there a specific moment or experience that sparked this journey?
Yeah, well, it was a bit of a bittersweet type of beginning. So I had worked for a previous concessionaire, airport advertising concessionaire, and we realized that they were moving out of certain regions in the not only in the United States but in the Caribbean, and they were going to be abandoning, if you will, smaller markets and some mid-sized markets. Their focus was going to be more of going after larger cosmopolitan or metropolitan
Yeah,
airports. And I looked at that and said, well, this is going to be an opportunity because the big boys always play with the big boys, right? So to
right.
speak. But if we look at the way that a lot of airports in the regions work, there's a lot of small regional airports, or they're international airports, but they're just smaller because the market
Yeah.
is smaller. And they were going to be basically left alone.
Mhm.
And I started to approach my business partners, Nick Morley, who is the managing director at RoGrip, and Herman Lang, who works with Nick out of Costa Rica, who serves as my CFO. And we started to have conversations as stating, this is a good opportunity for us to build a more, you know, boutique, as I mentioned, more boutique level concessionaire, and basically go to a lot of these airports and say, hey, listen, these bigger guys are not even going to look at your way. So here's
Yeah,
the choices that you have. You're either going to be working with local vendors that don't have the knowledge, don't have the expertise of airport advertising. They might have billboards and they might run other type of agencies or other type of advertising branches, if you will,
yeah,
but they don't know airports. We know airports, and we know what is required to build an airport advertising program. We have contacts, we have agency contacts, we have local contacts, and then as we were starting to build this, COVID happened, and it's a sort of like a good thing in a sense that it expedited a lot of these larger concessionaires to get out of these airports. At first, it was let's just work together, let's figure this out. But as COVID started to extend and extend and extend, they basically just said we're out,
yeah,
and they
right.
left a lot of these airports in a lurch at a time when you really needed to show that you were a partner, at a time that you really needed to show that we could share pain. right? Let's figure out, how do we share this pain? What does that, you know, sharing look like?
Yeah.
And there were a lot of airports that felt abandoned, for lack of a better term. You know, they were like, you know, of all the things hitting us, and now we have this to worry about. So we started, you know, and I was a victim of it as well, because, you know, I was let go during that time. And, you know, I was kind of happy. I was like, good. Now I could go off and do what I wanted to do. And now I can reach out to these people, because they're no longer clients of these concessionaires, and they need help.
Yeah.
And so we started to knock on their doors.
Right. Right.
And it took a while, because obviously during COVID, these airports needed to just reopen, right? And these
Right.
markets just needed to, and the advertising was so low, you know, on their list of things that they needed to do. But we kept up, and we just let them know that when they were ready, we were here. Um, and it was just really, for us, was a testament of focus, because we did get to a point where we thought this wasn't going to happen, and we were like 1 month away from literally just saying, it's not going to happen,
Yeah. Right.
let's forget about it. And I went to my partners and said, listen, I really believe this is going to happen. I'm willing to work for free. That's how committed I am to this. And they said, okay, let's give it another 30 days and see what happens. And, you know, whether it's divine intervention or just perfect timing, you know,
Right.
I'll let your viewers decide what happened there. But we got our first two airports, and then we went from two to five within a few months, and then five to 10, you know, within a year. And it just, year after year, we just kept growing, and now we're over 20 airports,
Wow.
and, you know, in less than 5 years.
Right.
So, you know,
Interesting.
we grew very quickly. We grew exponentially, and then we just started to look at what other opportunities can we enter. And
Yeah.
that's when we decided to look at, through our partnerships and friendships that we had in the industry, we expanded into VIP lounges. And then we were invited to participate in a process for the cruise ports. And it was something that we had never done. Um, but we looked at it as a fantastic opportunity. We looked at it as, you know, this is another industry that requires that type of touch, you know, a more personalized touch. It requires an understanding of not only the cruise industry, but the passengers, the
Yeah.
destinations, what, you know, what the advertisers want to get, or how do the advertisers get in front of these valuable passengers who are entering their cities and entering their locations, and offer them products and services. So
Right.
we, you know, we're very excited about that opportunity, all along not losing focus of who we are. And that focus has been very centric to the airports themselves, the VIP lounges, and the cruise ports, and seeing them as each entity and each destination as a separate client and as a separate thing. You know, we don't just say, "Oh, this is all one group of
Yeah. Yeah.
people
I
or
see.
one group destination." No, it's like individualize them and and give them that service on a more personal, individual level.
Right. Right. And now let's go back to when you first started. So,
Mhm.
what major challenges or gaps did you see in the market that made you think this needs to be solved?
I saw I saw several things, and one of the things was that you that you really needed to build strong partnerships, strong relationships. And I saw a lot of times people talked about it, you know, and it wasn't just, it was sort of like an industry thing. Oh yeah, we're partners, we're partners, we're partners. And then I slowly started to realize, I go, you're really not. You
Yeah.
say it, but you're really not.
Right.
And the proof was in the pudding, right? I was actually on a panel for ACI LAC, and I said that to them. I asked the clients or the airport folks in the audience, how many of you, when COVID came, did you really work with your concessionaires, or they had people that said, hey, you know what, we're going to work this through, and we're going to get through this. And there was like one little polite golf clap in the back. I said, okay, how many of you got the call saying we're out?
Yeah.
Right? It's like everybody. I go, okay, is that really a partner? Do you really see that as someone, or as an organization? Is that someone you want to do long-term deals with? And now you guys are all here happy, right? You're all smiling. I see you guys hugging and all that stuff, right? Going back to normal, if you will. Those people that abandoned you, how many of them tried to come back?
Right.
Right? And I said, it's like that bad boyfriend or girlfriend, the one that said to you, oh yeah, I'm going to love you forever, or your wife or husband, you're going to love you forever. Things get bad and they leave. And now they see that, I don't know, maybe you worked out a little bit, you took care of
Yeah.
yourself, or maybe you're doing better in your life. And now they're like, oh, well, let me go back to you. Right. And, and what's your response? Your human response is no, thank you. Right. Your business response will be the same way. No, thank you. And for me, I said to the crowd, you know, partnerships for us really matter. And if I have to suffer pain with you because there's something, could be a hurricane, could be a natural disaster, could be a man-made disaster, right? I'm not going to abandon you, right?
Yeah.
That's when you can count on a friend, when things are bad. That's when you count on a partner. It's when things are bad, not when things are good. So I saw that. I said, you know what? I don't want to be that bad partner. I want to be a good
Yeah.
partner. The other thing I saw too was that, you know, are you really listening to the airport? Are you really listening to the port, or the VIP lounge operator? Are you really truly listening to what they want? And or are you so focused on budget? Right? I can only spend, just use simple numbers. I can only spend $100,000 in this market. But the airport is telling you, but I want this and I want that. Yeah, I can't do that with 100,000.
Hmm.
Well, instead of saying no, you say, okay, I see where you're coming from. I see what you have. You have to meet their expectations, right? You
Yeah.
have to be able to go to them and say, listen, I can build certain things for this airport, or this lounge, whatever. I could build certain things, but here's why I'm going to build it the way I'm going to. And then, so let's focus on certain areas first. Let's start growing the market. Let's start seeing how much of excitement there is. And then let's just start planning this long term. Yes, you want to have this beautiful, whether it's an iconic digital or something like that, but let's build. Let's build
Yeah.
relationships. Let's build the program. And then as the years pass, now let's start, and we start collecting revenue. Now let's start making the appropriate investments and just keep going. And that makes the process of extending contracts so much easier, because they
Right. Right.
see the
100%.
process, as opposed to, well, I only have 100,000, I'm going to build it now and let's see what happens. Like, no, I mean, it's like, state, yeah, we're going to build this with a certain amount of money, but as the program continues to move, we'll continue to invest accordingly. And they'll see that, as opposed to, okay,
Yeah.
now I got to wait for a contract extension for them to do something. And it's like, no, we'll keep
Right.
doing it. And if you're happy with us, give us the extension. If you're not happy, all right, well, God bless, and you move on, and we move on, and that's the way we feel it should work. And and then lastly, we saw that, we needed to get the local businesses more involved, right? So we don't um, we don't just bring in a team of installers, if you will, and project managers from outside of a country and build the program and leave, right? We actually work in conjunction with local providers, local vendors, and create opportunities for them, create jobs for them. and then continue to provide them with opportunities to make money in our program by providing services to the local entities. And I truly believe that the airports are happy to see us doing that, as well as the cruise ports.
Yeah.
And the community feels that they're participating, as opposed to some company coming out from another country that doesn't know our culture or doesn't know our ways of things, or how we operate. And the fact that we've been giving those local entities opportunities, they seem to be very responsive to that. So, we're very happy to be able to provide growth opportunities for other businesses in those markets.
Right, and because you mentioned this, it's something that caught my attention in our previous call.
Mm.
So, for example, could you explain your HIT principles: honesty, integrity, and transparency?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for that. So one of the slides that we have in our presentation is we're a hit with our customers, and hit, as you said, states honesty, integrity, and transparency. Honesty, we're always taught as children, right? Always be honest, right? No matter what you did, right? If your parents said, "Don't lie to me," right? You knew the consequences if you did, so to
Yeah,
speak, right? You were either, they took away your favorite toy, or you can't go to this birthday party, right? There was a consequence for not being honest. So we figured, look, you got to be honest, because the consequence for not being honest, or if a client doesn't feel like you're always being honest with them, the consequence is they're going to take away the market from you, right? They're going to take
right.
away that business. So be honest. But the other thing with honesty is that sometimes it's brutal, right? Sometimes, it's going to be something that the client doesn't want to hear, right? The honesty could be is that, listen, uh, we know we wanted to install by a certain time. However, our ship got stuck in the Panama Canal. That literally happened to us. There was no water in the Panama Canal, and the ship was stuck. And I said,
Yeah,
it can't get here. And so, what do we do? We can't airlift, right? We can't send the Marines and airlift it. I said, it is what it is. So we have to delay it. But they appreciated the fact that we said it, and it was nobody's fault. I mean, there's no
yeah,
water. What are we going to do, right? But that honesty helped us, because they saw that we weren't delaying, and here's the proof. Here's where the ship is. This is, it's all out there. So I think our clients appreciate our honesty. Even when we make a mistake, we're very honest and say, "Yeah, that's on us." But conversely, if the airport makes a mistake or the client makes a mistake, we have to go back to them and go, "Listen, this is on you.
yeah, right.
We did all of the things, but honestly, this is your fault." But with that, how do we overcome it? How do we work together to a happy resolution where both of us are happy, and we continue? So that's the honesty part. The integrity is to always have ethics, right? To always put yourself in very high standards. We don't believe in corruption. We don't believe in using labor forces that are not either insured or have the same level of integrity that we have. We want people that are honest with us, and that have those levels of integrity and those levels of ethics as well.
Yeah,
So we always look for that integrity, and the last is transparency. And that means that we share all of the information with our clients. So if I get a contract, and the contract is, let's say, for $1,000 a month, the airport or our partner sees that, right? And we show them, this is the contract. We got it. You have a copy of it. We have a copy of it. And this is what was sold. This is what was collected. Everything is out there in black and white. There's no shenanigans. There's nothing, that they can't see for themselves. And we truly believe that the more transparent you are, and that also ties into the honesty, right? So the more transparent you are, and you have the opportunity to see what we see,
yeah.
then the honesty comes easy because there's no way for us to lie, right? it's
Right,
it's, it's
right.
all there in black and white. So we
Yeah,
really live by those three principles, and it continues to work for us. And we remind our folks all the time, like when they say, "Hey, you know, this happened. What are we going to tell the client?" And I say, "Well, what's our first principle?" And they go, "Honesty." I go, "Well, there you go. You tell them the
yeah,
truth.
right.
Well, they're not going to be happy.
Yeah, right.
No one is ever happy but they can't say that you lied. So just be honest."
Okay, and now walk us through how RG Media addresses these challenges. What makes your approach unique?
Well, again, I think that what makes us unique is we listen more than anything else, and we tell that to everybody. Whether you're in sales or business development or operations, listen. Right?
Yeah,
Don't always feel that the way that you do it is the right way. Um, you may have to adapt. Right?
yeah,
So you might think that, oh, okay, it's very simple. I'm going to do this, this, that, and the other. Now the airport is telling you, well, here's the problem we have, or here's the situation that we have, or here's the unique situation that we have here. Right? If you don't listen and you just say, ah, you know, doesn't know what he's talking about, and then you find out that the person did know what they were talking about because you
yeah,
did it your way. Now we look foolish, right? So I always like to really sit down and when I meet with airports for the first time and ask them questions. I said, like, what really pains you? Like, what don't you like about your program? What don't you make? What do you like about the program? What do you like about your current concessionaire? What don't you like about your current concessionaire? How is it that now you want to operate? Do you want to have a concessionaire? Do you want to do it in house? Do you want to do it yourself? Do you want to have some type of a hybrid? Like, how do you want to operate?
yeah,
And I ask a tons of questions before I even do a presentation, before I even show slides or things like that. There's so many people that in sales that just come in, want to do the presentation, just sign it, let's go. We're happy to work with. It's like, did you listen to the person at all? did
yeah, right.
so to me, the most important thing is always just sit down, listen, comprehend, and then you know through that listening process and that Q&A process, really get an understanding for what the airport really wants. And sometimes they'll tell you something and you're listening to their response and you go, well, wait a minute, hold on, there's probably another level from what you just told me, so let's go to that level. Oh, wait a minute, now that I heard something, let's dig a little deeper. And
Yeah, yeah,
all of a sudden you're hitting bedrock and you go, I can keep digging deeper, there's still something else here. Yeah, I mean, I think it's imperative for anybody who is, who's an entrepreneur or anybody that wants to expand their reach or expand their business, is to listen, because even through that process, sometimes you might hear something and go, I don't think we're a fit, you know?
yeah, right.
And if we're not a fit, um, it's okay. Yeah, maybe I'll tell you, contact another concessionaire. They may work with you better than I would. Um, and it's okay to say no to opportunities as much
Yeah,
as you want to say yes to every opportunity. Because sometimes there's certain opportunities that you just go, this just not may not work for us, and
right.
and and just step away, and that's fine.
Yeah, right, 100%. And also, could you explain why airport advertising is an overlooked opportunity for businesses?
Yeah, so a lot of businesses, and what we find even in areas where there's high tourism, and we try to explain to a lot of clients, well, they already booked our hotel before they arrived, so we don't need to be in the program. Or, everybody knows us.
Yeah.
Okay. But that, I always turn around and go, do you buy Coca-Cola? And they go, what? And they go, yeah, do you buy Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola or Sprite or, or any beverage like that? So yeah, I buy it all the time. I go, okay. Then, so you know Coca-Cola, right? They go, of course I know Coca-Cola. Okay. Does Coca-Cola not advertise? Does McDonald's not advertise? Everybody knows McDonald's. On a global scale, everybody knows McDonald's. On a global scale, everybody knows Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola. On a global, forget local, global. Yet they advertise. Why? And now you hear the dead silence. Right?
Right, right.
Uh, yeah. And so they advertise because they don't want people to forget their brand. Even though everybody knows Coke, they don't want people to forget. So here's the thing, too. I have never visited your market. I have never come to, whether it is St. Lucia or Antigua or Santa Marta, Colombia. I've never been there. It's my first time. I've booked my vacation with my family in your hotel. And I walk through the airport and I see your beautiful hotel in the airport. You know what the first thing I do? Whew, I made the right choice because you're
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
My wife gets to see it. The kids get to see it and they go, "Oh, Daddy, look, that's where we're going." "Yeah, son, that's where we're going." Right? Now they feel comfortable. They feel relaxed. Okay, you're there. But the other thing too, it's a welcoming, right? I mean, for example, in the Bahamas, Atlantis has a beautiful digital screen and they have this nice big, domination area. And they're saying, "Welcome." That's what it's saying. And it starts building the excitement from the second they get off the aircraft. They haven't
Yeah,
even gotten to the resort and they're already excited. And that's what advertising in an airport does. It provides that level of excitement. If it's a tourist location, if it's a B2B location, same thing. I've come to a place that I've probably have never been. My God, I forgot to book a dinner, a reservation. And I look around and boom, right in front of me is a steakhouse or some other type of restaurant. And I call you up, "Hey, Alexander, um, I know we're going out to dinner tonight, but I just heard of this place, right? I heard it. I just saw it. do you know blank blank steakhouse?" "Oh yeah, that's a really nice place." "Okay, I'm gonna make the reservations now." There's the
yeah,
information or QR code. Boom, boom. I put it, make the call, done. Right?
yeah, yeah,
That's the
100%.
power of airport advertising. It's an opportunity for brands to be in front of a whole level, a different level of client. Right? If you talk about business travelers, you're talking about C-level folks, right? CEOs, CMOs, CFOs, right? You're talking vice presidents, you're talking managers, directors, people that have decision-making process, right? So if you're a B2B, that's who you want. That's
Yeah,
who you want to be in front of. If you're a consumer brand, same thing. I am of a certain status and I see a perfume, for example, or a cologne. Well, maybe I'll get that for my boyfriend or girlfriend on the way out, right? And bring it, or maybe I purchase it as a gift to a client, right? It's in front of me, and here's the duty free store. Okay, I can go get it. Um, and the other thing too is that airports are no longer, they're destinations, right?
yeah,
If you've gone through certain airports now, they look like malls. They don't even feel like it's an airport, right? Because you have restaurants and all the opportunities. So with that, you have the opportunity to put your brands in front uh, of a of a traveler that is most likely affluent,
yeah,
and they're going to be able to make those buying decisions, either during that trip or post trip. And then if you look at just the leisure traveler, you have affluent leisure travelers. You have people that travel and take two, maybe three vacations a year. That's not your average worker,
right,
right? We're talking about people that have, a higher level of income. That's the client that you want to come to your hotel, to come to your restaurant, to come to your product or service, to request your product and service. So it's a completely different um, target audience than you would with just a general billboard on a highway, or
yeah,
or a billboard or at a bus stop. Right? It's a whole different level of
right,
clientele that you're getting at an airport.
right, 100%. And for example, because this is very interesting, when you talk to potential clients, what's the biggest misconception they typically have about what you do?
I think the biggest misconception is that, well, I already have a billboard, or I have a Facebook page, or I have Instagram. And I said, okay, that's fine, and those are good things to have. But here's the difference: if you have a billboard on a highway, ask yourself how congested do those highways get sometimes. Unless you're stopped or you're going at a leisurely pace, how often do you read the billboard, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're commuting back and forth constantly, you'll get to see it more often, right? Airport is different. Airport, you have nothing but dwell time, right? You get to the airport, you're in line in security, you're in line in ticketing, you're in the departure area, right? You're walking the concourse. Your flight is delayed because that's never happened to any of us, right? So
Yeah.
what are you doing? You're sitting there, you're waiting, or you decide I'm going to walk, and then you just walk to stretch your legs, and you're looking at this advertising, and it's all in front of you, and you have when you're in your baggage claim area waiting for your bag, you have nothing but time. If it's an international airport and you're going through immigration, you could be there 20 minutes or longer, all depending how fast they move. I was in immigration one time, 2 hours. 2 hours. What did I do for 2 hours? I can't be on my phone because, they'll tell you, get off your phone.
Yeah.
So I'm noticing all the advertising around me, right? Because what else do I have to do? I can't,
Yeah. Right.
right? So it's a whole different environment. It's an opportunity to capture those folks in those high dwell times and put your product and service in front of them, and it's very unique. Now, you look at an Instagram post, for example. You're much younger than I am. I could tell because you have beautiful hair. But so you're much younger than I am. How often are you doing this? Right?
Yeah.
And you see it all the time. You're looking at posts. Okay, that's funny. I like this. And all of a sudden, hey, let me tell you about this new boom. You
Yeah.
don't. You didn't even see what the product was. Right? You can't swipe left or right on an ad in an airport. It's in front of you. It's unavoidable. You're going to see it. So you have the opportunity as an advertiser to really get your message across and really get your product across that no other medium can do for you.
Yeah. Right.
And depending on the airport, it's actually pretty cost effective when you look at the ROI that you receive from that investment.
Yeah. So basically, this was my next question about that. You could share a specific success story of a client who saw significant results using your solution.
Yeah. So for example, we had in one airport it was a new the best way to put it, because I don't want to use their name because I don't want to
Yeah.
give them I don't want to give them free
Yeah.
advertising either.
No problem. Yeah.
But they were a destination that provided multiple experiences from
Okay.
zip lining to whole different things. We took over the airport program, and they wanted to be in a certain location because they had that location for quite some time. So we said to them, okay, we'll give you that location again, but we're going to make it more attractive,
Yeah.
and we're going to elevate the ad a little bit more, because your ad was, the information, for example, you had a QR code, but it was all the way in the bottom, and people are blocking that, so no one's ever going to see it. So we're going to elevate it. We're going to give it more prominence, and you know see how that works, and then we'll actually look at other opportunities. I said we have digital. Oh, no, 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 we just want this. Okay, so we changed that. We made it more attractive, and they loved it. They absolutely loved it, and they said that people were actually noticing it more, and they saw an increase. And I said, well, you know what would be really cool, now that you have that, why don't we put you on the large digital screens and baggage claim? I mean, these are big video walls.
Yeah.
I said, let's show people ziplining, having fun. Let's show people at your place having fun. And I said, and we'll tell you
Right.
what, let's just do it for a few months. We'll do it during high season. Just do it for 3 months. See how it works out. So we did it. And they were like, wow. Like, people were like really enjoying it. But then the question came, well, what now? How do I know it's really the airport and not like our
Yeah.
Instagram posts and things like that. And I said to him, well, here's the thing. In an airport, people are 85% likely to see, not only see your ad, but recall it.
Yeah. Right.
Has Instagram given you that percentage? Has Instagram given you that stat? Has Facebook
Mm.
given you that statistic? They'll say that, oh, you got so many impressions, but did they really see it? Did they really understand it? Did they really get it? Right? And he said, it's your advertising program. So they were so happy about it that they've actually asked us to look at their location and said, hey, we really love the digital stuff that you installed at the airport. Can you install stuff like that at our place? And we're like, yeah, sure we can. And he goes, oh, that's so, oh, we're so happy about that, because we just thought you did airports. You're like, nah, we could do this here too. What do you want us to do? So we did a whole walkthrough of their areas, and now we're in discussions with them to build things for them. And that's exciting because they obviously saw their value in the program. They're seeing an ROI, and now they want to do something as exciting and new in their location. So I don't think that another airport advertising concessionaire would say, "Oh yeah, we'll help you build things," or whether it's digital or static in your location
Yeah.
at your wherever it is, whether it's your resort or your attraction. They would say, "No, we don't do that. We just do airports." Where we're like, "Yeah, we have a happy customer, we have a happy advertiser. They want us to look at this. Why not?
Yeah.
It's
Right.
it's
Right.
just
Right.
an opportunity." But yeah, that
Right.
was
That's.
just one of the stories there. But normally it's not just a client that gets an ROI. It's the airport in
Mhm.
general, right? So what you'll see is we had so much revenue with the previous concessionaire, and they share that with us. Okay, we've build, we sell, and all that, and then we show them, oh yeah, your sales now or your revenue now is 20, 25, 50% higher than you
Yeah.
had a couple of years ago. And they're, well, why is that? Well, it's not because you know, as much as we like to say, oh, because we're so much better or we're excellent. It's not that. It's just that, well, your program is better. you know, it's more modern looking, it's cleaner looking, and we got people involved in the program that were never there before. Another airport, for example, was very happy to see that there was more local participation in their program that was not tied to tourism,
Yeah.
that it was a hardware store, for example, that they provided, like, they're like a Baskin Robbins. They provided so many colors for people to paint their homes. And the airport was actually happy. They were like, most airports would be like, well, that has nothing to do with tourism. They were actually happy because they were like, no, that's for us, for people who live here, that
Right.
that come in and see that, right? So they were very happy to see non-tourism advertising, and they were happy to see an increase in real estate companies advertising, and some other non-tourism advertising. So again, it's while you might have the individual success story, for us, the more important success story is how did the overall airport perform,
Yeah. Yeah.
before us and now with us.
Yeah. Yeah. Because this is very, very impressive.
Yeah.
And now, looking at the broader industry, what key trends are you seeing emerge?
So there's when you're talking about out of home, because airport advertising is out of home, so you're seeing a lot more, um, more of a focus on digital. You're seeing a lot of focus on different types of digital, like 3D, what they call anamorphic. You're seeing a bigger push, if you will, to experiential, which means you have some type of a booth, or you have some type of interaction with the passenger, and it could be something as simple as a car,
Yeah.
turning it into like a showroom, and someone can actually see a car. I'll give you a for example in Trinidad and Tobago. We have a car in the meet and greet area. It was called the Atrium, and those cars have been there for quite some time, and they get rotated a lot because someone comes off an aircraft, looks at that car and goes, I want that car. And it's not, I want that car, I'm going to the showroom and get that car. No, no, I want that car.
Yeah.
And so, when you have that type of excitement because someone sees your product, and especially someone, again, what we mentioned before, someone who's affluent, someone who's busy. I don't have the time to go to the showroom. I don't have the time to go for a test drive. I see something I like, I want it. That's it. Just
Right.
give it to me. That is a testament to airport advertising, right? But even beyond that, it's, you have tasting booths. I come up with a new tequila, right? I want people to try my tequila. Or you have a company, for example, like Angostura. And if Angostura has one of their bartenders, or mixologists, as they prefer to be called, you have a mixologist there and shows you these are different Angostura rums, and this is the different drinks you can make, and here taste the difference. And you're like, wow, this is really good.
Yeah.
Now they have the opportunity to go buy those bottles, whether they're departing on an international flight or upon their return. They can stop at a duty free store and buy it, or even buy it locally. So there's a lot of that. But beyond the new trends, even the more standard ones where you have digital or static opportunities, a lot of it comes down to the creativity of the ad, right?
Yeah. Right.
So you could have the location, you could have the space, but there's some people that um, take the opportunity to do something more than just put a TFD or a tension fabric display. I'm sorry, tension fabric or a backlit or something like that. They actually use 3D elements and design 3D elements around it, right? So that space becomes their own. And one of the things that we always tell our clients is like, look, this is the location, but consider it a blank canvas. There's so many things you can do. And we give them those ideas. We talk about putting 3D elements. We talk about doing something different. And they said, we could do that? I said, yeah, as long as we get the approval from the airport and you give us a rendering what
Yeah.
it's going to look like. Yeah, they'll appreciate that. So it's working with, whether it's the brand directly or the agencies, and just tell them we could do really cool things.
Yeah.
Just tell us what you want to do, and let's get it done.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. And as you wrap up, what's next for RG Media? Any exciting developments on the horizon?
Yeah, well, we started laughing about that. We're like, I would love to be the person, or have our company be the ones that are doing the terminal advertising when we finally build a
Mm.
moon base. I mean, that's one of the things we've talked about, or some type of international space station where we actually have people staying there.
Yeah.
We laugh about that. I said, would love to be able to do that. But in honesty, one of the things we really want to do is just continue to expand in places where we feel that our skills would be needed. We've been talking. I've been to Nigeria, and we're talking about trying to do something not only in Nigeria but on the continent of Africa. Africa is another, was really the last frontier when you really think about it, right? I mean, South America is continuing to grow and is having, even if some of that growth is still a little stagnant, they're pretty good. They've been growing. Asia, the same thing. There's a lot of growth. So we look at Africa as a continent that is the last frontier and could probably use some of our expertise. So we would love to see that. Um, I'd love to have the opportunity to expand more in Europe, and work with smaller or mid-sized airports that may not have the the wherewithal or the experience to either run their own programs or don't have a concessionaire that can help them.
Yeah.
So our growth is really, the way we look at it is it's unlimited. It comes down to the opportunity. It comes down to how much of a partner do we feel we can be to an airport, and vice versa, right? Because it's a two-way street. How much of a partner can they be for us? And
Yeah.
we're, we wouldn't be adverse to anybody that has relationships in other countries, and would love to have the opportunity to work with us and say, hey, can I be your guy or gal in a particular country, and kind of franchise us, and let us build the programs in these countries, or these areas, and work with you, and kind of tap that expertise. We would love to have those opportunities as well.
Okay, okay, got it. And for listeners who want to learn more or potentially work with RG Media, what's the best way to get in touch?
The best way to get in touch with us is go to our website. It's rg.media. There's no .com or anything. It's just rg and .media. There's actually a WhatsApp chat there, so you can reach out to any of us on WhatsApp, and just let us know how you would like to work with us. If you're an ad agency, we'd love to hear from you. If you're a major brand that would love to be in, whether it's in Latin America or the Caribbean, and across all our various opportunities, we'd love to be able to speak to you. Or anybody that wants to learn more about airport advertising, or how we do things, that's the best way
Yeah,
to contact us.
perfect, perfect, perfect. So thank you very much for sharing these insights about you, about the company, and about the whole story. And thank you for this amazing podcast session.
Oh, well, thank you for your time, Alexander. It was a lot of fun. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, and see you in the next episode.
Absolutely.